Hello, and welcome to my review of Primeval Series 1, Episode 1 review. I'm a little nervous because it's like my first proper video, and I'm probably going to ramble and stutter, and I really apologise for that, so please bear with. Primeval to me is a really special show. It's probably one of the first TV show I really got addicted to. It's my favourite show of all time. It's probably the only show I've felt like, oh, I just love the show. It's probably the only show I've ever felt really connected to. The show has a lot of different aspects to it. Not only is it about creatures from the past, the future, about mysteries of what happened to Helen Cutter, why are the anomalies happening. It's also got great character-driven drama and lots of different stuff that just really fascinates me and keeps me drawn in. To this day, I'm obsessed with the show. I watch it like all the time, even though it's been off air for coming up for 5 years now. There's a Canadian spin-off of the show called Primeval New World, and that's great. I really recommend you watch that as well. Give it a try, even though it might not seem the same. There's some great twists and storylines in it, so I recommend it. And Connor's in it for 3 episodes, so why not? Okay, so I'll start the review. Basically, this episode kicks off the whole Primeval franchise, and what an episode! It is really good. It's a really bold episode because the creatures aren't really in it that much, and I know that sounds bizarre because there are a lot of drama. There's lots of drama with the creatures. There's 3 creatures in this episode, which is quite a lot for a Primeval episode. There's a Gorgonopsid, which is the big baddie of the episode, and we see it chase Helen 8 years before, which is a great scene. The scene's set in Asda, the pre-title sequence, and that's put me off Asda as a child. I remember going in there, and when it was night time or getting dark, and you were just, oh my god, there's the Gorgonopsid's gonna be here. That's what I love about Primeval. It puts creatures to settings that you wouldn't think, and characters in situations, characters you wouldn't believe would be in these situations, like a zookeeper with a dodo, or like a nerd being chased by a raptor in a shopping mall. It's just crazy. But that's what makes me love the show so much. Before I get into the review, even though I've started it, I'm going to just say my experience of Primeval. I watched Primeval the day it aired, which was, if I've got my notes right, 10th of February 2007. I was 8 at the time. In fact, no, I would be 7. I would still be 7. I was 7, and I remember watching it. I remember staying up late. For me, at the time, that was late. I think it aired at 7 o'clock. Lots of 7s in this. But I remember being like, I remember it being late and I was tired, but I was waiting all day for this one. I thought this was going to be a one-off special about dinosaurs, and I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this. And I remember watching it being just mesmerizing. It just drew me in. I was addicted from the word go. It was just such an experience. And I remember when the next time titles popped up, and I was like, there's another one. Oh my god, there's another one. Oh my god, oh my god. I'm like waiting all week for that to reappear again in the next episode. But yeah, this episode's brilliant. It's written by Adrian Hodges, who's a co-creator with Tim Haynes, and they had the idea of the episode from they had the idea for the whole series from the Walking With franchise, which Tim Haynes produced, and I think he created it because they always wanted to put these amazing prehistoric creatures and the amazing CGI in with a drama, and I think it really works, especially with this one because the characters. I'll get onto that in a sec. The characters and the actors are just brilliant. But it's directed by Silverware, as are the first 3 episodes, and yeah, let's get on with it. We've got on with the characters. We've got Professor Nick Cutter, who's this man who's got a lot of baggage with him. He works at university. 8 years ago, out of the blue, his wife Helen Cutter just disappeared. She's never seen or heard of again. She went to investigate something in the Forest of Dean, and she left on an argument. So he's completely distraught, emotional, as anyone would be in that situation. His wife's gone. Is it his fault? He blames himself. You can see that in the acting. Douglas Henschel is just superb as Cutter. gets him down to the pin. I can't even I forgot my expression, but you know what I mean. He's exactly, if anyone had to be Cutter, I can't imagine anyone else being him. It's like he is Cutter. You forget he's acting sometimes because he doesn't overreact. He doesn't go, "Oh my God, there's a prehistoric creature. Oh, the fabrics of reality are being ripped open." And he does it so normally, like something's ripping these apart, and what are we gonna do about it? He says one of the greatest, a really great line in this episode that really stands out for me, and it sums up Cutter's character quite well. Darwin provides most of the answers. It's the pieces that don't fit that interest me, and he says that to Connor in his lab. And that's what Cutter is. He doesn't, even when everyone wants him to say it's a hoax. Like Claudia Brown, when they meet, she's like, "You just need to say it's a hoax, and we'll be fine, and we can just move on with our lives." And he's like, "Well, I can't disprove it until I've seen the evidence." And that's just another layer of Cutter. He's very honest. He's very distant from everyone else, but at the same time, he wouldn't let any. He would stand up for people. He's just a great lead cast. He's a great lead actor for the whole cast. He's the team leader and probably the best Primeval has ever had or ever will have. He's just phenomenal. But that's enough of Cutter for now. Talk about Stephen Hart, his best friend and work colleague, I believe. I think he works at the University of Qatar of paleontology, and Stephen's very he's got the brains, but not as he's got all the knowledge that Cutter has. He's got the muscles and the good looks, and he's more of like the man. Like he's got all that. He's good at he's good with weaponry, as you see in the episode. He tracks animals. According to Connor, he's fought anacondas in the Amazon and saved a whale, which is just great from Connor, but we'll get on to him in a sec. Yeah, Stephen's one of those characters who you could completely rely on, and I do like Stephen, but as the series goes on and the next series, you'll see why I go off Stephen. But he's great in this episode. He helps develop Cutter as well. They both kind of bounce off each other, and they're great in this. Then we've got Connor Temple. Oh, Connor Temple. In all reality, Connor and Abby, their story is the story of the show as well. That you see them progress from these pair of, well, not as much Abby, but Connor. You wouldn't trust them with anything, but they grow and develop into amazing characters. But we'll get onto that as I review the whole series. Connor, in this episode, he brings a comedy aspect to it, and he's the lovable idiot. He's so clever, and you see that he knows all his creatures. He's got a data bank, which Stephen says very sad because he spent every moment in his spare time since he was 14 on it, which is just he really wants to be like praised, and he's trying to impress Cutter, and that it's not working with all this alien conspiracies he believes in, and Cutter's just kind of like, "Nah, Connor, it's not real," and he's like, he throws his work on it in the bin, which is great. He thinks like him and Abby have got a chance, and he's just that lovable character. He's very clever. He works out the whole magnetic force with the anomalies and the compasses, and he's so happy that there's a conspiracy involved. Yet at the same time, he's very silly because very stupid. He knows that the anomalies suck anything magnetic through, so he's doing pens. He's throwing the compass through. Then he gets a key out and goes, "Woohoo!" Zup, goes through the anomaly, and he's like, "Oh wait, that's my house key." And that's a great part of the episode. Great line. Another character is Claudia Brown, and she's a very feisty character. She works for the government at the Home Office, and she's there to kind of keep everything under control, don't get the public involved, cut everything off, deal with the situation, and just clear it all up. And she brings another aspect of the series, like she brings the government into it, the big conspiracy, and she's great at her job because she kind of she's kind of the communication between the Lester, who we'll move on to later, who's in charge of the project, the mission, and she kind of has to communicate between him and the team because they really don't. Cutter and Lester don't get on, which provides some great acting between both of them. And yeah, so she's got quite a hard job, but she does it perfectly. She does it brilliantly. She's very feisty. She won't let anyone walk over her, but at the same time, she won't admit when she's wrong always, but she'll she just wants to get her job done. She does it really well. And her opening scene's a bit random because it's at this bar, which is another weird thing. Like, you would think this episode's got to have a little drama, 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 action, 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 but it really doesn't. For an opening episode, it's got quite casual, laid-back scenes, all mixed in the throw. There's like, you don't see the creatures properly till quite later on, and I think that works. It gives you the suspense, the mystery. The mystery's very dominant in this episode. Like, you got the mystery of the anomalies, the mystery of Helen, the mystery of what happens with the camp in the when they go through the anomaly. So that's great to have all of the mystery, and that's what Primeval is. It's one big mystery which keeps the viewers from day one hooked, and you want to watch on. And I love that. That's about it for Claudia. Not much. She gets quite a bit of development in this story. You see everyone's personalities. Nick's very lost, emotional character. Doesn't really know what's happening with his life. He's looking for his wife. He wants answers. Steven's a kind of macho man. He's there for his best friend Cutter. At the same time, he wants to know what's going on. And there's Connor, who's just a lovable idiot, who's just complete nerd, happy doing what he's doing. Like, he's just happy to be part of something. Claudia's just very feisty, very intelligent as well. She's not one of those female characters that goes around screaming at everything. Same as Abby, which we'll go on to now as we're here. Abby's a very headstrong character. She's very intelligent. She knows her animals. She works at Wellington Zoo as a keeper with the lizards. She just lost her job with the lizard program or something. I can't remember. And she bumps into her boss. The boss is really clumsy. You see him, I think in episode 6, but we'll go on to that when we do it. He's quite funny. They have some great scenes. She picks up this piece of paper. She goes to Ben's house. Ben's this little kid. She meets Rex, and she gets brought in. She's not brought in through the whole university like Connor, Cutter, Claudia. They all go together. Abby's a kind of single character who meets differently to the others, and I think that's good. From the word off, she's very headstrong. She's very she's very headstrong, but in a different way to Claudia. She defends herself. She's very dramatic. Like, she's very. Oh, this is hard to describe Abby. She's very strong. She's a strong character. She won't let anyone push her around. She's very smart in her own way. She knows her animals. Like, when they all group up and they meet the Scootosaurus, she lets Cutter know that they're scaring him. The Scootosaurus need to go and hit its field of vision to not spook it or provoke it. And she's very caring as well. She really cares about the animals, the welfare of them. I think she prefers creatures to people, as you find out in series 4. I think she prefers the animals. She trusts their instincts a lot more. And yeah, Abby's got some great scenes in this, like with Rex. She really cares for Rex. And yeah, Abby's great. But we'll see, and she has a really great relationship with Connor. That Connor and Abby, I think I've said it before in this, they've got the whole series revolves around them in a really nice, lovely way. You see them go from amateurs to the absolute best of they've got the best experience, the best everything. So it's just great to watch their relationship grow and see where it takes them throughout the series. But final 2 characters now. That's the main team, and then you've got Ben Miller, who plays the wonderful, brilliant James Lester. He is fantastic in the role. You wouldn't put him in you wouldn't cast him from seeing what he's done previously. You wouldn't have cast him in this, but he's just superb. He's brilliant. Every single line he does is just it's another aspect of comedy, but so much. It's just so different to what Connor and Abby bring to it with Connor mainly. It's just a different kind of comedy, and he's just without Lester and Primeval, I don't think it would be as successful as it is. I think he brings the government, like the government boss, the big boss. He could be very boring. He could be a very Job's Worth character, but they put a different light on it, and it makes him so you hate and love Lester at the same time. He has some great one-liners. He's just making me laugh. Think about it. Lester is one of the best, and you see him throughout the series as well develop. Because in series one, he's very distant from the team. He's not. He doesn't show any signs of affection. He doesn't. From watching it, you'd think he doesn't. He only gets some of them because he has to, which is true. But as the series grows, you'll see his character grow and the affection, and you'll see a new light on Lester. So that. It's all like a little seed planted in series one. Series one, episode one, little seed that grows off. And I suppose there's two other main characters. The other main character is Captain Ryan, Tom Ryan, I think it is. Comment down below if I'm wrong, because I always used to get it wrong. Is it Brian or Tom Ryan? I think it's Ryan. We'll go with Ryan. He's kind of the security of the team. He has to let go of Cutter through the anomaly to check, see if Helen's there, see what's going on, and try to discover it. Cutter's not very happy that he's got someone watching him. He doesn't like that. It's his wife, his problem. He has to deal with it. But no, they have to bring him there for safety. And he's a great character. Throughout the series, you really see him develop. He starts with this soldier boy. You kind of think, oh, he's just a tough, macho soldier. But he really does interact with the team really well. He has some great little lines. He wants to shoot and kill these creatures, but at the same time he respects the choices that Cutter makes, and he really goes along. He grows with the team as well, so he's a great addition to the cast, and he's quite forgotten. I'm not going to spoil anything, but well, I will do when I get to the review. But as the series progresses, he really does. He's great, basically. This is the nerves coming through, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and I suppose you can count Helen as a main character. Even though she's not really in the episode, you find out that she's missing. She's been missing for 8 years. We see her through the Asda scene where she bangs on the door of the Asda, and the stupid cleaner just looks at her with his headphones in going like, what? Just ignores her blatantly. Even though she's obviously in mass panic. I can understand that he can't hear what she's saying, but you see someone's face. You would at least ask what's wrong, but she just lets her go. It's quite a funny scene, really. But yeah, she goes away, and then at the end of the episode, there's a great scene where Helen, Cutter's in his desk, in his office. The end of the episode, all the events that have happened, he's found out about the anomalies, he knows his wife he's got the possibility that actually his wife could be alive, he could have a second chance for everything he's been hoping for. It's common possibilities, there's prehistoric creatures. As an evolutionary zoologist, that must be like the best thing that could ever happen, that he could come face to face with the creatures he's been studying, even though he probably wouldn't want to, knowing half the creatures. But he's very he's just had a very big shock. He's had a big shock of a day, so he goes back to his office to just cope and deal with, like, get over what's happened, like think it all through and stuff. And he sees a shadow go past his skeleton of a Smilodon, saber-toothed tiger, and I love his office. His office, by the way, it doesn't appear again after series one, but it is. It's a shame because it's great. It's got fossils everywhere, bodies of bits of animals and jars, and it's great. And I think he's making a cup of tea, and you see a shadow go past the camera, and the music goes doo 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 doo. So he turns and he looks, and there's an ammonite on the desk, which is, if you don't know what it is, it's the iconic image of a fossil, the big swirly snail thing, and tentacles start to creep out of it, which is really, I don't know, as a kid that creeped me out a bit. It was really, really great, well directed scene. It just under the lamp, the table lamp, under the light of the table lamp, it just goes, splots out and splits back in. He kind of just looks, he hears a door shut, so his head turns, he runs out, and he runs out of the university, and it's all pitch black, and the woods is right next to it, and you just see like the bus stop light, and Helen's kind of just toying with him, just like kind of shaking her head, kind of shaking her body, like acting like a little bit of bait, like trying to get him over. So he's like, Helen, and he's running like he hasn't seen his wife for years, and then he closes his eyes and she's gone. Just gone. and he just like stares into the darkness like what the hell's going on, and the music just captures the acting, and the music is great for that. But yeah, and then there's Rex, who I suppose is a main character. He has some great scenes in this. There's a scene where he has a great he brings another comedy aspect to it. The comedy, oh, cute little dinosaur. He he and Abby have a great relationship, even though he's a fictional dinosaur. Well, he's not even a dinosaur. None of the animals in the first series of Primeval were dinosaurs. But yeah, he's got a great. I think he kind of draws in the younger audience, and everyone wants Rex as their pet. There's some great scenes with Rex, especially when he goes to the Home Office, which is like the hub of the series, where all the main characters go. The first series, and Lester's men have prodded and plotted him to make sure he's from the past, as Cutter theorizes, and Abby's very concerned, which is great because it shows their kind of relationship and shows how much she cares for these creatures that don't have a voice, so she's their voice. And Rex is getting prodded around, and Lester's just like, oh, I'm sure they know what they're doing, because Abby's like, they don't know what they're doing. He's like, oh, don't be so stupid. He's getting annoyed at them. He doesn't like the civilians being there, as he says himself. He sees them as civilians, and there's no need for them to be there. But they've signed the secret official act thing, so they have to. And that's quite funny to see his frustration. And Rex, she's like, do they know that he can fly? And he's like, what? He can fly? And then you just see Rex getting prodded, and he just jerks up and flies, and he flies out the room. And this really good music comes on, really cheesy music, like all this guitar like action running around, and Rex like goes into an elevator, and it's like the music stops, it's all calm at elevator, he's like do 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 do, and you just see him like bobbing his head up and down like a little car toy, like enjoying the music, like bobbing his head to it, which is, although ridiculous, it's hilarious. And the doors open, and he flies out, and he's like causing havoc for all the officers. And then he goes to the window. The team have got up with him. Abby's like, "Come on, Rex, it's not your world out there anymore," which is, I think, is a really powerful line. And he looks and just flies off. And she's like, "No, no, no!" And the music's all sad, and it really just all works really well. And then he just leaps back at her, jumps on her, and she kind of like grabs him, and they have like a little hug kind of moment. And it's a horrible animatronic Rex, which unfortunately takes away from the greatness of that scene. I'm sorry, the animatronics, the graphics are great for this series. They really are so believable, apart from a couple of incidents. And I know, although the series is nearly 9, nearly 10, it's 8 years old, it's so believable, apart from when it's a bit grainy. The edited, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, certain bits of Rex are a bit... But yeah, they're completely believable, passable. You couldn't be able to flaw the CGI. But the animatronic for Rex is a bit crap. But luckily they don't bring it back in series 2 and onwards, so that's good. Yeah, that's really it for Rex. Oh, and he poos. It's a great scene with Cutter and Lester, where Lester's kind of trying to. They both try to get one over on each other, and Cutter's like, oh, one of those problems you were talking about, I forgot to tell you, there's one dripping down your back. And Lester's like, what do you mean? He looks, and there's Rex poo dripping down his back, and he's just like, and Cutter's like, this could not be more perfect, just like reveling in the dread of Lester, which is just great. Yeah, moving on to the creatures of this episode. For unusual for Primeval, there's actually 3 creatures, which makes it it shows it's like a special. It's the beginning, trying to get people introduced to it. And there's a Gorgonopter, which is the big bad villain of the episode, if you like. It has a lot of scenes. One with Ben, the little boy who finds Rex in the woods, which is just a really great scene. It's blended with CGI and the action. Tacking his bed, pulling the bed around. Ben's throwing all his toys at him. Eventually, it turns the music on. There's like this big. It's just a great scene. Like there's music playing. Ben's so scared he gets one of these big electric ball lights and throws it at the creature's head, and it sizzles and scares the Gorgonopsid away, and it runs back into the night. And then it just completely falls apart with Ben's mum saying, "Ben, keep the noise down up there." And then she goes up, and you can just hear her go, "This mess, tidy it up." she would have seen that giant dinosaur. But not, it's not a dinosaur, prehistoric creature, and it for me that just takes it. It just ruins the scene, and she ruins every scene she's in. Actually, Ben's mum, not the actress's fault. It's just the writing, the way she blamed Abby for filling his head full of stuff. Then she blamed the TV, but apart from that, Ben's a great character as well. I think it's great that he was the first person to see an anomaly, like put his head through, and that's a great scene, really powerful, with the music instead of a main character. But that's another thing. The music is superb. The music for Primeval is probably one of the best and underrated music for most. Like the scores, 100% fabulous. The actual theme tune itself, for me, is 100 times better than the Doctor Who theme tune. Doctor Who theme tune is so iconic, and I do love it to bits, but only certain variations, not the horrible Matt Smith era variation of the theme tune. But that's a whole other can of worms that I'm opening there, so I'm going to close them, put that aside. But Primeval is my absolute favourite theme tune. The big do 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 do, the drums of just fits it perfectly. The title sequence, the little anomaly shards, the character's face. You have to see each week which one, like each week, what creatures you've seen and what ones you've got to look forward to, and you see them briefly in the title sequence. It's the title sequence, series 1 to 3 of Primeval, is amazing, and I love it. It cuts off to the Primeval going do 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 do, and it's like the Primeval logo, and then the shards go like. There's a bit where the music kind of just screeches off to a halt, and the shards kind of do the same. Love that bit, always have. Unfortunately, it's not in 4 to 5 because they changed the title sequence, but oh well. I've still got the memory of it, and I love it. The story for this episode's great. It's quite slow in certain parts. Like you can tell they're just like there's bits of fillers in it. They're just waiting for it to move on. Like the scenes that are unnecessary, like Stephen and Connor tracking through the woods, which is great because it develops both their characters. But if you took it out, you wouldn't notice. Like the bit where Stephen chases a Gorgonopsid in the school, which I love because it goes past a picture of a Gorgonopsid, which is so luckily there, and so it's so obvious they've just put it there because it's in the episode. But it's great, and he kind of looks at it, and the music kind of changes to like this, like it's checking it out, and I love that because it's got these big eyelashes on the painting as well. That's always made me laugh since I was little. And Ben again, it's got this thing for Ben. It wants to eat Ben. And him and his teacher this time, the teacher doesn't believe him because he's seen it from the window. Casually, the teacher looks away, and then she looks back when it's gone, and it smashes through. It's going to kill them both. And Stephen, which is a great moment for Stephen, it makes you kind of see how macho and like how like awesome he is, how like he takes it on. He just runs up to him and he's like, pick on someone your own size, and just runs. And then you see him like knocked over, and you think, oh no, is Stephen dead? And you don't see him until the end of the episode, which I think's a nice touch, as it allows other characters to develop and stuff. There's a bit where I haven't actually gone through the episode in chronological order, but I don't really care. It's my first review. Shoot me. It's a great bit where there's a cow in a tree, which just made me laugh as a kid, being a cow in a tree. It's something so ridiculous, but it works for Primeval. It just brings that element of like, there's a cow in a tree. We'll go with that. I love that bit. There's a great bit with the truck driver, and it's like all his truck's smashed up and there's chickens everywhere. It just brings a suspense and drama and mystery that Primeval brings to most of its episodes, to be fair. Trying to think of my favourite bits. The bit where they go through the anomaly is just shot so well. Because Captain Ryan and Tom Ryan and Cutter, Cutter's like, let me split off, just give me an hour, I've got my radio. Even though radios wouldn't work millions of years ago, but they just ignore that fact. And they're walking through the desert, and Cutter's just like, Helen, Helen, he's like screaming out this endless desert and volcano, and it's just so beautifully shot, and the music just fits the acting 100%, because all of the cast of Primeval, they act like you wouldn't. It's like their characters and the actors. They're so well chosen. Whoever is a casting director for Primeval deserves an award because they've picked the best characters for the role. Some you wouldn't even pick. Like you wouldn't put someone from S Club 7 as Abby. Like, I would never put Anna Spirit as Abby, but she just pulls it off. All the actors do. They really just suit their characters. But this is another thing. Primeval gets a lot of stick, especially from Russell T Davies. He's one of the main. I think he's the person who brought it up to like the main audience. He's someone who made a big fuss about it. He said as much as he loves Primeval, it's got no ethnic like cast members in it, which is true. There's no throughout the first two series at least. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There's Caroline in series 2. But throughout the first series, there's no like ethnic roles, as well as there's no gay characters or LGBT characters, which is fine. Like I know it's not, it makes the show less believable, if that makes sense. And I wouldn't say it's like meant to be racist or sexist, like anything like that, homophobic, anything like that. But I can see where he's coming from. But in all fairness, the characters, what the acting and the writing, well, more the acting and the music pulls it off so well. You wouldn't really sit there and go, "Oh, no one's black in this scene. That means this is rubbish." Like I wouldn't say it like that. I would say it is what it is. It didn't have it, which is a shame, but it doesn't take away anything, and it doesn't ruin the viewing. It doesn't ruin your experience. So it's like for me personally, although people may disagree, and I completely see where you're coming from. It is in this day and age you should have different actors playing different roles, but it's fine. It doesn't take anything away from your experience. The end scene, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, I've completely forgot where I'm going with this. No plan, as you can see. I haven't got anything written out. I did, and it didn't work for me, so I'm just going to be natural and flow with where I go. Go with where I flow. Yeah, the bit where Cutter and Ryan are, like, Ryan's found this camp. That's a really great scene. You don't expect it. There's no need. Like, you don't need it, but it just adds another dramatic element where you're like, ooh. Just when you're starting to go, okay, we've got the anomaly mystery, we've got Helen mystery. Okay, that's enough. Like, you've kind of settled with the idea of trying to figure out that, and they throw another curveball in with the whole camp, and they find a camp that's been used, and there's like wrappers of sweets and cases and cameras, and here's a camera that says HC on it, which is the initials of Helen Cutter. So Cutter picks it up, puts it in his pocket, and Cutter's like, "Is there any signs of anyone being here?" And Ryan's like, "Well, whoever they are, they didn't get very far." Look, and there's a skeleton, and the audience, I presume, I remember seeing it the first time, everyone goes, "Oh my god, it's Helen, Helen's dead." And Cutter counts the rib bones, and it's a male, because I think males have more rib bones than females or something, but yeah, it's a male, and so you're like, okay, if it's not Helen, who could it be that would make it significant to the audience? And you're just like, and Ryan's like touching it and stuff, and you eventually find out who it is, and I'm gonna say it when we get to that point. And it is just the way they planted this, I think, works so well, because it gives you something to look forward to, like finding out. It gives you something to find out, even though you don't find out the whole Helen mystery straight away, and the anomaly mystery is something that goes on throughout the whole of the history of the show. You find this out. You find out the camp mystery in episode 6, which is the finale of this series. So it gives you something. It rewards the audience basically for being patient and watching. And it is. I love the way this. Once you've seen episode 6 and you rewatch episode 1, which I've probably done 1,000 times now, no jokes. It really just. Mwah, I love it. They come back through. Rex comes back. But then the thing is that I've always thought this: how do we know it's Rex that came back? Because you see thousands of I can't say it. You'll just say Rex from now on. We saw thousands of Rexes out there, Cutter released Rex when he went back through. Another Rex could have just came back, so we just assume it's the Rex we all know and love. So that's just, yeah, Rex is back to stay, but Abby sneakily gets him and doesn't tell anyone, which I think is great because it adds another, like, oh, what they're going to say when they see it, because Cutter makes a strong point in the episode saying their natural habitat, they belong where they're in their natural timeline. They shouldn't be here. And the anomaly closes, which is another great suspense. There's lots of suspense in this episode, like the creature's footprints, the cow in the tree. Abby sees the creature in the puddle. The creature knocks out Stephen. The creature runs away. There's also suspense, like what's going to happen next. You really don't know. You're on your feet. Even though there's not a lot of drama. Like there's only a couple of action sequences. It's more about getting used to the cast and the cast finding their feet. And the Abby gets Rex, and you think like, oh, it's all ended well. The anomaly's closed, as they've managed to get through before it's closed on behind them. It shows another aspect that anomalies do close. There's a time limit for how long they're open for. And it's all well and done. And then you remember, oh crap, the Gorgonopsid, and the Gorgonopsid comes running through. Stephen, like, it goes to attack Claudia. Cutter's about to grab her, like, it's like, oh no. Then Stephen comes driving through in his car, alive and well, hits the creature, and the creature dies, and it's all really dramatic. And Cutter's face is just like, it's so perfect. He's just like, and breathe. And then the creature's eye opens, and it goes to kill them all. And Cutter throws a gun to Stephen, which I like that they didn't make Cutter shoot it, even though he's the lead actor. It wouldn't suit that Cutter knows how to shoot a gun. It would make sense for Stephen to know how to shoot a gun. So he goes, shoots the creature dies. And that's the end of that. Backtracking to about halfway through the episode, where I love the way all the characters are brought together by this big conspiracy of the, what is this creature, like what is a creature in the newspaper, and Connor finds it. And it adds to Connor's character that he's quite gullible. He believes a lot, which as the series go on, you see develop in ways that you really don't want to see it happen, but it does. And you're like, Connor, you can see that's not what it is. Come on, Connor. And Abby sums him up perfectly in series 2, episode 7, where she says, "For someone so clever, you can be incredibly stupid sometimes," and that sums up Connor so well to the T. See, I can't use that expression today. I really don't know what it is. Comment below if you know what I'm trying to say, because I've completely forgotten what that means. Yeah, down to the T, is that it? I have no idea. I'm gonna think of it when I finish this, and I'm like, damn, I should have said it then. But no, there's a bit where Abby and Rex are waiting. Well, they've got lost, and it's in the middle of the Forest of Dean, which she knows so well. Which kind of is another thing for Abby. She thinks she knows. She thinks she can be in control of every situation. She thinks she can take on anything, but in reality, she's not that. Like, well with it. She can't take on every situation. She has to know when she's when she's wrong and when she's right and stuff. I've backtracked. Where was I? Yeah, and she's there walking through the woods, and she bumps into this giant Scootosaurus, which I didn't even mention the Scootosaurus. See, I've been rambling. So what happens when you ramble, you forget what you're talking about. Scootosaurus, we'll get onto that in a minute. She bumps into them. It's a him, I believe. They call it a him. And Cutter's like, don't move. And she meets all of them for the first time. I love the way that scene works out. They all meet each other for the first time. And they just, none of them, you wouldn't put them together, but they work so well. And it just works brilliantly. And Cutter's like, don't move, and he's examining it, and the creature gets a bit shocked. Like, it starts to get panicking. Abby's like, you need to stay in its field of vision. And I really like that, because Cutter could have easily took the center stage and be like the big zoologist going like, I study this creature, this creature origin, blah 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 blah. But he doesn't take over from Abby. He lets her speak. He doesn't shut her up. Abby's not going to be one of those like female characters that goes, "Oh my god, it's a dinosaur!" And starts crying. She's very strong. She's not stupid. She doesn't. She's just like she says what she needs to say, and she helps out, and she earns her place in the team very well. Um, Trying to figure out what else there was. What other scenes really stood out for me? Oh yeah, the bit where the Scootosaurus goes home. Cutter's like, it needs to go where it feels safe. Chase it, and they flare the light in its eyes, and it just runs through the anomaly. And it's the first time they see it. And Claudia's just like, "Where's it gone?" And Cutter's like, and he says it in such a good, like many actors could have overreacted, like I've just done, and go, but he literally just goes home, and it just works so well, and it's just one of those standout scenes. Um, I would probably overall give this episode. Oh, before I give my review, Scootosaurus, that was it. See, I'm all over the place because I was so well. I've literally had to redo this review about 3 times. I've just deleted them all because they've all been like me going, Cutter, he, he's a good character because he does this. Oh, I've ruined it. But no, this one's been really easy. Once I've got into my zone of just blubbering on and completely zigzagging all over the place. This is my first review, so I'm really sorry. The next ones will be a lot more, hopefully, a lot more boom, 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 next one, boom, 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 next one. I want to do some. I'm going to review all of these series, by the way, Primeval, from episode 1, series 1 to episode 6 of series 5, and Primeval New World. So just hope, just if you like, if you believe in me, I hope that I can pull through. But yeah, Scootosaurus. It's a what was I say? See, I've gotten to the point where I'm overconfident with it now, and I'm just like forgot what I was going to say. Scootosaurus. It's probably one of the creatures that is like looked. It's not really. It's literally in that one scene, and in the scene my cutter goes through, but it's just like as a herd. It doesn't really do much. Doesn't do a lot for the show. Doesn't contribute much. It's just a creature they all stumble across first. It's the first creature that Cutter, Claudia, everyone apart from Abby has seen. So it does bear some significance. And I love the way that they could have easily used Rex for everyone to be like, oh my god, it's a dinosaur, oh my god, even though it's not a dinosaur, and that annoys me very much when they say it's a dinosaur, even though it's not a dinosaur, but anyway. Or they could have been like, oh my god, the Gorgonopsid, that's a prehistoric creature. They use a Scootosaurus, a vegetarian out of all the things. They could have used a big meat-eating dinosaur that's going to eat them, and they didn't. They used a Scootosaurus, which is an unknown. Like, this is another thing. Every single creature in the first series of Primeval, bar the pterodactyl, most of them are pretty, and the dodo. Yeah, and the dodo. The dodo and the pterodactyl. They're quite unknown, and I love that they don't use a T-Rex. They could have easily got a T-Rex. They could have got a Diplodocus, a Triceratops, and all of that in, but they didn't. They used unknown creatures, which just brings a bit more. Oh, I've never seen that before. I've never seen. It's not a repeat of Jurassic Park, or I've never seen that before, so I'm gonna watch it, and I really like that. And I like the way the Scootosaurus could have easily been used by the Gorgonopsid or the Rex in its scenes that it had, but it wasn't, and it just I love it. I love the Scootosaurus. I'm going to be doing a top. Oh, I don't know how many there are. However many creatures there are in series one, I'm going to review them all from best to worst, and I'm going to do that of each and every series, and I might even do all the series combined, my favourite creatures. But yeah, okay, that's my review. I know it was been all over the place, and I'm really sorry it's not the best. But whose is for their first review? Probably everyone who's done their reviews first. Like, their first review is probably a lot more formal and better than mine. I've just been all over the place, but do you know what? I've enjoyed it. I've actually had quite good fun doing this. So thank you for listening. Overall, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. I think it's a very strong opener. Thinking about it, it's probably one of the strongest. Actually, no, it's not. It's a very strong opener. It's one of my favourite episodes personally because it's my first ever episode I ever watched when I was little. So continuing with the 7 theme, I give it a 7. Loved it. And I'm going to be reviewing next episode, which is not no title. Like I said before, in England, they don't do titles, which is really weird. I don't know why they don't do it. I would love titles. And I've forgotten even if I've mentioned this, but if not, in America this episode was called Leaping Lizards, which I think is a terrible title for this episode, and in Germany it was called The Other Side, which is alright, not the great best. So I give it 7 out of 10, and next time I'll be viewing episode 2. So thank you for watching, comment below, like if you like it, dislike if you disliked it, and I don't blame you because it was quite crap. Yeah, see you next time. Bye!